Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. I've been requested to make a video showing how to make a swing fold card, and a swing fold card is like this. Okay, I'm not going to be doing the sentiment like that. The sentiment will be like this one, straight onto the Whisper White, but I made a mistake on here, and what I did was where I had stamped that sentiment onto that piece, I had started it too far up this end, so when the card was closed it had cut off like that, and of course once you open this card that piece swings away from you, so if somebody had wanted to see it, they would have had to twist it, and you know, wasn't ideal, and I thought that was quite an easy way to fix it. So if you do the same as me and you put that in the middle and you can't see it, that's how you can get it sorted out. Okay, so yes, I'm going to start by telling you the card pieces that you need. I am not going to give metric measurements in the video, but I will put them in the box below. And the reason for that is because this is going to be a lot of instructions from 1.5 inches down to 4.5 inches, or 1.25 down to 2 3/4. I think it would just get too confusing with me keep saying metric and then inches and vice versa. So I'm going to stick to inches for the video, but both of them will be in the box below. So to start off with, pieces you're going to need. This is soft sleeve foam and it measures 5 3/4 inches by 6 3/4 inches. In fact, what I'll do is I will give you the metric just for this, but then that's it, it stops. After that you need to pick up the details below, okay, because that's a confusing bit. So this measures 14.5 by 17.1. Then you need 2 pieces of shaded spruce which measure 3 inches by 4 inches, which is 7.6 by 10.2 centimetres. And then you need 2 pieces of Whisper White, which measure 2 7/8 inches by 3 7/8 inches, which is 7.3 by 9.9 centimetres. And then 2 pieces of Designer Series paper, and this is from Garden Impressions. And these two measure 2 5/8 inches by 5 5/8 inches, which is 6.7 by 14.2 centimetres. And then you need 2 smaller pieces, which is 2.2 by 2.2 centimetres, or 1 1/8 by 1 1/8 inches. Now with your 1 1/8, on one side you need to cut off a tad. What I've done is I've cut one side down to 1 1/16. I'll show you why. These 2 pieces here are 1 1/8 by 1 1/8, but when this is closed, can you see how you get that little bit that's hanging over? Because it needs to be a tad narrower. Okay, so you need to just cut off either 1/16 of an inch, which is what I've done, and I've written on the back that that side is the 1 1/16, because it's going to be so easy to get, you know, on the wrong way round. So if you can't do 1 1/16, just do a tad, okay? And you can always double check it before you actually glue it down, and then you can just cut a piece off. Right, so we will start with our soft sleeve foam piece, and as I say, this is where I stopped giving you the metric. So with my trimmer, if you have one of these trimmers, you will have the 1/16 of an inch on here. And why is that rocking? Surely that should never know notice that. Oh, that's better. Right. So what we are going to do is you're going to line up your 6 3/4 inches along the top of your trimmer, making sure that it's resting against that and that. This side, your right hand side, line it up on 1 1/4 inches, which you can just about see. And then you need to cut from 1 1/4 inches down to 4 1/2 inches. Okay, I've got inches down mine. Here in the UK we get centimetres down here, but I've got these inches because I cut off a strip from my grid paper and it works brilliantly. So 1 1/4 inches down to 4 1/2 inches. Then turn that piece 180 degrees and do the same again. So line up at 1 1/4 inches over this side and then cut from 1 1/4 down to 4 1/2. Okay. Now if you turn your paper 90 degrees, so you've got your 5 3/4 across here. Now this time line up at 1 1/4 again. Now on this one we're going to do a cut line. We're going to lift up, move down and do another cut line. Okay, so the first one you need to cut from 1 1/4 to 2 3/4. Okay, so that's 1 1/4 to 2 3/4. Now you might notice that I keep pulling this down, and the reason is because this does move up and down. So if I make sure it's down every time I cut, then this is all going to be correct. Anyway, so that was 2 3/4. Now you bring this down to 4 inches and cut down to 5 1/2 inches. So it should line up with your cut line. Oops, or go past it. Right, that won't hurt, really, seriously. Right, turn your cardstock 180 degrees and repeat. Line up at 1 1/4, cut from 1 1/4 down to 2 3/4, lift, move down to 4 inches and cut to 5 1/2, that's right, which should be the cut line. It's better to fall a bit short because you can always snip that little bit. I'll show you how. There we go. Now that was the one that went way past and it was too short on the opposite side. But it's not ideal, but it won't spoil the card. And then this side. Just slip your paper snips in and just give it, that's it. Okay, now we need to do some scoring, and for this I like to use my bone folder. Now what you need to do is on the 6 3/4 inches side, line this up at 2 3/4, which is there. Now you should find that when you score it should go to the end of that cut line there. Okay, so just score as far as your cut line and then come and score from your cut line down there as well. Okay, so turn your cardstock 180 degrees again and do the same. Oh, just knocked that on the floor. Turn 3/4. Right, and then score down to your cut line again. And then from this cut line down to the end. Okay, so you've got 2 score lines there and there. Yep, you can see that bit. Right, let me just retrieve that. So that's that bit okay. Now these 2 pieces here, one piece at a time. Now, let's use my post-it notepad again. I've done that bit. Now on your 5 5/8 inches side, line it up at 1 1/8, which is that bigger line between the 1 inch and the 1 1/4 inches. Okay, so that's there. Cutting blade up there. On 5/8. Right, now on here you've got to cut down to 1 1/2 inches. That's all we need to do. And move this one along and line it up at 1 1/8 inches. Okay, so there's the one and the next bigger line, 1 1/8, and then cut down to 1 1/2. Okay, so you've got 2 cuts like that. So put these cuts facing your left hand side. Put this back in again. So line that up at 1 1/8. There we go, 1 1/8. And you cut from 1 1/8, which should be from that cut line down to this cut line. That's 1 1/8 down to 4 1/2. And that should slide out. That's it. Okay. So we do the other one. Okay, so line this up at 1 1/8. No, sorry, this way. Don't try doing it from memory. Right. So line this up at 1 1/8. Just get the cutting blade up there. And cut down to 1 1/2. Okay, move this along, line up at 1 1/8. Always make sure that you've got your cardstock or your design series paper up against the edge there. Okay, so now make sure that's proper, in the proper place. Right, 1 1/8 and cut down to 1 1/2. And then turn so you've got your 2 cut edges towards you, pointing towards your left hand side. Okay. Line up at 1 1/8. And then start cutting from 1 1/8 inches down to 4 1/2 inches. That should come out. If it needs a little bit of help, give it a snip with your paper snips. So there we go. So now we need to put our card together and also to do our stamping. So first of all, we will do this part of the card, right there, bits that you can save. First of all, we're going to fold our card. Now, On the back of this, I don't like where you get the little bumpy bit when you're using a trimmer, so I always go over my edges with my bone folder just to smooth it out. And on a card like this, it obviously matters from the back. See, that's made it a lot smoother, so I'm happy with that. Now on one of these, you want to fold this forward, make sure your sides line up correctly, and then use your bone folder to get a good crease. Come over this side, make sure that lines up properly. Again, oh dear, that's a bit naughty. I didn't check that my cuts were right the way down, and that one fell a bit short. Let's see if I can. What have I done with my tweezers? Please don't say that oh no, here we go. So please don't say I've got to work without tweezers. So please make sure that you check that your cut lines go far enough. Because if you fold and they're not cut, it will do what mine's just done, and that is, it's torn. But not enough that it's going to spoil my card. So that one's folding that way. The other one we need to come the opposite direction. So you've got one valley, one mountain. So open that up so we can make sure it goes straight. Right, line the sides up and then give it a good crease. I can see a pencil mark there. There we go. Good. Okay, so that's the basis for our card. We've got to have the, in fact, I'm going to fold my card the other way because that bit that tore is in the wrong way, in the wrong place. At least that puts it at the back. That's better. Okay, so you've got to have that this bit folds over towards your right hand side. Okay, so this folds to your right. Now I'm going to put these on first. Hopefully I've done the measurements right. And I'm just using Tombow for this. Okay, that will stick beautifully. Not much of a contrast, is there, with the Designer Series paper? Very difficult to see the design on it. But it's a lovely design. Apart from the cardstock, the two cards, the one that I've already shown you that I made the little bloomer on, and this card, the stamping's going to be the same colour, and that is for the green, the grassy bits, the leaves, it's going to be shaded spruce and soft sea foam, and for the flowers it's Pacific Point and Night of Navy. Some of them I have to stamp colours off because they're a bit too dark. That's better. Okay, now these two, now I think where my 1 1/16 is that way, it's got to go top and bottom, I think, is it? All that way. Oh no, that way. That's better. Yes, of course that's right, because the other side is 1 1/8, which is the height of these. Now that is going to fold over without any problems at all. Right. That's it. There we go. I did toy with the idea of doing this on the back as well, but you need somewhere to write your greeting, and I think it would be a shame to write on this bit, so I think you could write on here, because when it's standing up on the side you're not going to be able to see what's at the back there. Okay, so I think that one there, which is the one on the right hand side, comes over to the left hand. Right, so stamping. Let's get that sorted. Right, I've brought this one over with me as well. This is the one I've been using, partly as a reminder where I stamped off, which ones I stamped off and which ones I didn't. So I have my 4 inks, Shaded Spruce, Soft Sea Foam, and Light Navy and Pacific Point. I love that Pacific Point. I think it's a really beautiful kind of blue. I don't need to keep my book here now, do I? That can go. That can go. Give me a bit of space here. Right, the stamp set I'm using is Abstract Impressions. It does have a set of dies to go with it, but it doesn't die cut any of this. It's got a beautiful like corner lacy design. I should have brought them in with me, but I didn't. It has also got quite a large butterfly as well, which is what I call lacy. If something's got a lot of holes in it, I call it lacy. Right, so my stamps, that's the darker leaves, that's the lighter leaves, that's the darker flowers, lighter flowers, sentiment on the front and sentiment on the back. So first of all, what did I do first? I did the flowers on here, I think, first. So I am going to just double check myself to make sure that I am remembering correctly what's stamped off and what isn't stamped off. So first of all, the solid leaves should be Soft Sea Foam. Now this is definitely not being stamped off. It's far too light on its own. Now I'm going to stamp this approximately in the middle. I can see my middle line down the bottom here, so that's very roughly about it. Okay, and I don't let the leaves come right off my piece of cardstock. Okay, do one. The next one I allow it to go over, so it comes off the edge a bit, and then it goes over there. You can see where it's the colour's gone darker. I'm going to do the same down this end. Let the two overlap and let it come off the edge as well. Okay, I'm just going to do one here to show you. In fact, I'll do two to show you. I'm not bothered that that's not stamping properly. This is only a demonstration for you. So let me put that one away first. So if I come back with Shaded Spruce and the thinner leaves. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you with it not stamped off and one stamped off, and you'll see huge difference. I'm not even going to worry too much about lining up. You see, that looks so much better on such a light colour underneath. Okay, so I'm going to do my stamping off. Now with this stamp set, it's called Abstract, which is a name in itself, which says, you know, don't worry too much about trying to line anything up. The lining up is very random, shall we say. So stamp that one off and sort of line up where you can. There we go, that's all right. Okay, so that's the leaves done. Let's move that over there. And this here. Now the background flower I'm doing in Pacific Point, and I think if I remember rightly I stamped this off once as well. Let me just have a look at my flowers. I think I did. Yes, I did. There we go. Now I haven't done too well there, but I'm going to be using my marker pen soon, and I'll show you how to cheat with that. So that's the background flowers. Now the accent part of the flowers. Now again, if it wasn't stamped off, you put this on there. And then that comes up too dark. So that's what I did. Okay, this one gets stamped off as well. Again, trying to line this up is really quite difficult. So don't get in a state over it, you just go as close as you can and it will be fine. You will find that with the two flowers there are little arrows on the sheet in the stamp set indicating which way to have them on your blocks so that they do match up. But as I say, the matching up is very random. Okay, just bring that up to show you how random it is. Right. What colour have I got? Night of Navy. Right, I need to put my sentiment up here as well. To bring this as close as I can. It's quite close. So I'm using the darkest one, which is Night of Navy here. Just making sure that all the ink is over everything. Just try. Oh, I've done it again, haven't I? Oh no! I thought you were shouting at me. When you do that, do your stamping up this end because if you don't, that is not going to be seen. Oh, well, never mind, never mind. At least I've shown you how I fixed it on that one. That's what I will do after the video. I haven't got my bits here to correct it now. Right, so let's move on. My Pacific Point marker pen, Stampin' Right marker, and I go round and I just colour in all the little white bits. And it's while I'm doing this, I come around and do that bit as well, so nobody would know. So there we go. Although I'm not really into these abstract type things and random, there are times when it does come in handy. Okay, so that's fine. Now what I do is I use the Night of Navy, and I just go over all the centres and I just put in little dots just for the flowers centres. And now and again, some of these, depends where the two-step stamping, the second step has gone, but some of them don't always look as if they've got a centre, so I give them a centre off centre, if you know what I mean. So at least all of them get a little bit of an area that's got these little dots on it. I made a card yesterday, I think it was, using this design, and I wanted something to do for the centre of the flowers, and I used our gold metallic pearls, but I wasn't really happy with it because it was just too many pearls, which is why I decided on doing something like this for this one. Okay, so if you look closely in the sort of centres of the flowers, I've done lots of little dots just to give it a centre, because I really don't want to put the pearls on it. So when I do this, let me just double check that I have actually messed this bit up. So that will go on there, then that will go on there. That's the wrong way round, isn't it? No, it isn't. Oh, what am I doing? Like that. That's up. It goes that way, that's why you're trying to put it on the wrong one. That would make life easier, wouldn't it? Now, will that go on? I mean, will I be able to show all my sentiment? Bear in mind, on this one I do have a... Oh no, that was a blue one, wasn't it? Yes, I'm going to have to correct that. Okay. But I will do exactly what I've done on that one. So there we go. Now for the second one, where's my picture? Okay, so I've done basically the same, but I had that there. So first of all, I'm going to do the sentiment, which is this one, and I am going to do the sentiment in... Well, that was wrong anyway, wasn't it? I should have done that in shaded spruce. Oh, well, at least I get a chance to correct that. So this one's going to be shaded spruce. I'll correct that and get a picture of it on my blog on Sunday morning, which is when this video will go live. Right. Make sure there's enough ink on there. I think so. And how much gap did I leave? About halfway, about there, a third of the way. Yeah, we'll say a third of the way. And hopefully that's straight. As this is quite a big sentiment, I'm just giving it enough time to make sure plenty of the ink is absorbed through to my cardstock. Yes. Oops. I think that's even straight. Look at that. Right, now what I did, I will need that but not straight away. I took a post-it note and I measured 1 1/4 inches, which is to there. Okay, I folded that and then just cut that. So let me just double check which one was the... Okay. This one looks as if it's probably a bit over 1 1/4 inches, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this sticky bit over here, but I'm going to bring it down so that I've got maybe nearly 1/4 inch clear. Yeah, that looks like 1/4 inch. Yes, you can see that. Okay, so I've got down there about 1/4 inch clear, no sentiment, and I don't want the leaves to come on there either. So let's go back to do the leaves. So first of all, I have soft sea foam. I'm going to do the first one right over that bit there. I hope that's... yeah, I think it is. Yep, that's fine. Looks like my ink pad really needs re-inking. There we go. So that's that one done. Then we have shaded spruce. Now this one I need to stamp off. Oh, nearly. There we go, that's good. So finished with that. I won't need this again now. So next I need the bigger flower, which is that one, and Pacific Point. Now both of these I have to stamp off. Now I don't think I actually do the one in the middle. So let's just do these ones first. So that's the background flower done. Now I need the Night of Navy, and that still needs to be stamped off as well. That's it. If you want to know the bits I do look for when I'm lining this up, it is, where's my paper piercer? You see that one there? Let's see, bring it up close. Right, that one there, and also that one there. They're quite easy to line up on those two. And then it's that one up there that I do with that like a V shape. I see it, that one there. So it's that one, and the V. And then once I'm happy with those, I just make sure that that bottom one is looking in the right place. Sometimes I might have to just shift it a little bit, but otherwise that's how I do it. As you see, sometimes I'm close, sometimes I'm not quite so close. But there we go, you pull that off and you have your sentiment totally uninterrupted with any of the sentiment. So again, with my Pacific Point pen, just colour in the circles, the white bits, and go over that a little bit. That's about the most difficult bit there to colour in, because you've got to keep it in a straight line. So that's that, and then my Night of Navy to do some little dots. There we go. So we can now, oh, I didn't actually put that on there, did I? Where's my other green piece? Let's move those out of the way because they are really quite dirty. Right, Tombow. There we go, nice wide gap on that. I won't forget that I've got to do a repair job on this one. Okay, so you just remember it's a card that's got the soft sea foam base. So you can check up on me on Sunday to see whether I did actually get round to fixing it. And, in fact, if I've decided to put any butterflies on there as well. Which I may well do, I like the idea. Right, so now this one, that's the card closed. So, yes, we need this one on here. Okay, so do this one from the back. Now what I find easiest with this is because these lines almost disappear, I have one side open. I'll show you what I mean. I just find it's the easiest way to get everything lined up. Okay, like that. I find it a lot easier to get this lined up on there because I can see the white around it, whereas on the other side you've just got all green. Just make sure that's straight. Yep. Okay, so you can see it better like that, and then that one on there. So the next one, and that's the way round it should be. So now I'm going to put the other one on here. This is the lightest one I've done, I think. Oh no, I did the pink one, didn't I? But the pink one was the one where I was testing how much of a gap I wanted. And the front of it, I did it rather tight, and I definitely didn't like that. And then the back of it, I did a bigger one. I was much happier with it. There we go. So there's that one as well. Okay, good gap. So there we go. That's today's, what was it? A swing fold card. Clever, isn't it? Rather like that. Right, so that's the project for today. Let me just get, where's the other one? Oh, the other two, wasn't it? Because I've got that one, which was correct. That one, which has been corrected. And this one that needs correcting. Oh dear. Right, okay, and one other, when I was making that one, because I was testing colours and what have you, I finished up with one of these that was done, but I didn't want to waste it. So I made a card out of it, and this is the one that I put the pearls on it. And I decided that it's just too many pearls, don't like it at all. But the card is nice. I did some fussy cutting to decorate on the inside as well. That was from another design from there. So there we go. Very, very easy stamp set to use because, as I say, it is just so random. Although to use their word, it's abstract. So I hope you give it a go. So many thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions or any comments to make, please leave them in the box below the video. The box, you can only access it if you're watching this on YouTube. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, there'll be a link to my 24/7 shop, online shop in the box below. The stamp set that I've used is being carried forward to the new catalogue, which goes live on the 4th of June. But the designer series paper isn't. That will be retiring. If you've enjoyed my video and you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new one, which at the moment is on a Sunday, but I am hoping to get back to 2 a week. I'm missing not doing 2 of them at the moment, but life's just too busy, but I will be back. And finally, oh, by the way, sorry, I interrupted myself there, didn't I? If you would like to be notified each time I upload a video, please click the subscribe button, which is down there in the right hand corner, and then click on the bell, and that means you'll get the email notifications when I post. Finally, I have a special promotion for people who do shop with me online during May 2019, and that is my handmade gift for everybody will be a personalised keyring. I'm going to be making one of these for everybody, and on the back it will have for you. So on the front it will have initials, and then on the back for you. So if you'd like to receive one of these as a free gift from me, and you don't already have an Stampin' Up demonstrator, please click on the link below to go to my online Stampin' Up shop, and you will receive one of these in June. So many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.